Hello, everybody, and what we're going to talk about today is what weapons were formed against the Starseeds. Yes, that's what we're talking about. As usual, it's going to be a deep one. We're talking about the parasitic beings, and the parasitic beings are those of other races, and their allies and things are some of the deities. If you haven't already, please check out the numerous amount of other videos I have regarding all star seeds. I have a whole list on my website at lasoniaoccultist.com where you can really get into it. Okay, well, we're just going to get right into this thing, and we're going to start off with the weapon Far's fear. That was one of their main, that was one of their main weapons. You already know gods and goddesses are not supposed to fear. So you can already see how far we all have fallen as starseeds. You know, starseeds are the originals, the first gods and goddesses, you know, who stood with the supreme. That's how I see it. And one of the things that they were able to do is anything that came their way, they're able to dust that off. They have instant solutions. It's nothing to even worry about. No worries, no fear, no none of that stuff, because they know how to transform any situation, anything that comes across their path. And again, I must stipulate that you can see how far we all have fallen, because one thing that we face in this world, this place, this augmented reality is fear. One of the main things they use is fear, from every category. Everybody has their own example of things that they may fear. Okay, and what you may not have known is they created a lot of those fears. You didn't just get those fears from so-called past lives or reincarnations and things like that. No, it was organized. The galactic teams created those fears by doing experiments on us, doing experiments on starseeds. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that as well. I have my notes here, and one of the things that I had on here was one of the methods used is phobias. The things that is specifically geared to each starseed according to his or her light. My fear may not be your fear. And depending on the testing and the experiments that they did on particular starseeds and the effectiveness of some of these tools, depends on what phobias you might have in this current state, in this current life. Sometimes you see them pop up and manifest in what I call the doors, which is nothing more than you stepping through another world when you fall asleep. Don't believe for a second that they are dreams. They are not dreams. They consist of you actually traveling back to the past, because they consist of your past lives. They consist of many scenarios and many things that you have experienced over decades, over millennia, over billions of years, all in what they call dreams. They put some parts of it is they may exaggerate it, but it's only 10% of exaggeration. Other things you have literally seen in other spaces. Don't believe for a second that you have not. I don't care if you see a flying bed. I don't care if you see a weird face. You've seen that face before. You were able to do those things that you see. One of the main things that a starseed is a traveler. You're able to travel. And now what they have done, they have condensed your traveling to only a mental state. But guess what? Your mental state becomes physical. in those realms, in those worlds. You are literally going to those places, going to those states. So it's more than just a thought. Don't get out of that state, far as them putting your mental state into thinking that all you're doing is thinking. No, when you think, you create. You just don't see your creation. That was one of the main things and the main techniques that they took away from you, was your ability to know that you don't think, you create. Did you know that? You literally create, and you don't, they took it away where you don't see yourself creating instantly in your space. They either grab that energy of that scenario that you created, that whole little scene. You literally, whatever you see through what it looks like your mind, you actually created that scene where some of those parasitic beings can step in there. They can literally step into your world. You're an instant world creator. You are. But when all that stuff happened to you and us, we don't get to see that stuff. And it goes a little bit deeper. You may imagine yourself living a better life and all this stuff, and you think you have to wait for it. But guess what? You had instantly created it, and the parasitic beings or some of the deities is actually living the same life that you wanted, the exact one that you created. You have been creating worlds and lives for them. Sometimes you can see them around here in this current world. We have been creating those things for them. They have been stealing our dreams, our goals, our creations. This is not just no mental stuff. This is physical. You actually see all the things that you created. And then they come with this jargon like you're not able to manifest because you're not cleansed. You're not smart enough. A god and goddess can instantly cleanse regardless of how much stuff they may traverse. They are always supposed to be able to create. So when you cannot see that creation, there is something wrong. That is always a red alert. You will always be a creator, no matter what you do. You will always be a starseed. You will always be a god and goddess. There is nothing that they cannot take that from you. They can take all sorts of other abilities and gifts and things like that. They can postpone them, not take them. Let's just say that. They can postpone them, put them on hold until you awaken. Until you start and begin to acknowledge, you'll see more of yourself and more of your abilities flow into this space. Now, I'm not saying that you'll see all of them, your whole 10%, because I told you it's from 10 being primo to 1 is like the frequency that they're trying to give us, 1 or 2 at that level, that bar level. But here, you will be able to see something. But as long as you have this belief system that you can't do this, or this stuff is just garbage, it's all lies and things like that, far as some of the things that I'm saying, then no, you will never awaken. And they will always have you entrapped, bound and bind. And that's exactly where they will want you. Okay, so let me get back to some of this stuff that I wrote. I said... they use your phobias. Let's say, for example, one of your phobias is bugs or rodents. What you think is just normal around maybe where you live or a place that you're at, you see these things. No, they have specifically placed those things to heighten your fear. When you fear, you ooze out your light. It's almost like your light tries to protect you. So it spews out. And when you spew it out that way, those beings, those parasitic beings are there to absorb it. Absorb it. They take some of your etheric light, the light that you need to ascend through your fear. They take it. They're able to take it because your etheric door, your field, is open at that moment. It's almost like you're a veil and it becomes thin, and they're able to walk through and steal from you. And that's why during those times you feel maybe lethargic or weak or drained after you have a stressful period or a stressful moment. Don't think for a second that that is normal, because it is not. Nothing that they do is normal. Nothing that happens to you in your day-to-day life that is not like a god or goddess is not normal. It's not normal. Do not believe that stuff. You were supposed to come here equipped. I said that in the other video. You were supposed to come here equipped with your memory. You wasn't supposed to have to depend on Akashic records. You were supposed to come here with your eyesight, seeing through every orifice of this current place and every other dimension, realm, and place. You were supposed to have top-notch hearing. If you had your ancestors in another realm talking to you, you were supposed to hear them. And if you're not able to hear them, that shows you how far we have fallen. You're supposed to hear them. A pendulum is nothing. You're just supposed to dash around that energy. You're supposed to fly higher than an eagle, faster than a falcon, all that stuff. That's what you're supposed to do. It's nothing about you that's supposed to be a human. You were not made to be a human. That vessel was supposed to be a 10.0 machine where you can walk through these planes and easily get out. But can you get out of that vessel? No. In your mental state, they say it's only one way. And they have condensed us down where we agreed to that. And then once we agreed, we solidified this state. Well, even if we raise our vibrations to believe that we can step in and out of these bodies, we cannot. Because as gods and goddesses, our words are binding. Our thoughts is literally binding and connected to this universe where we have set this stipulation that we cannot move. So now it doesn't only require you, it requires other starseeds to actually help us pop out of these bodies. Yes. You don't have to wait on death. You were supposed to walk out. You are a grand big old light that's supposed to slide out of any space that you find yourself in. You're never supposed to be trapped, ever. Okay, I said, they have actually created a controlled environment. This is their controlled environment. Your home, your space, your work, your school. That's why we have to follow. That's why it feels like we have to follow their rules. Where have you heard of a god and goddess following a human's rules without being on the board? We don't even remember being on the galactic board. And this is not the stuff that we agreed to when we had the discussion with invading parasitic beings that was perpetrating as our allies. Before we entered here, we don't have that memory. They took it. We would never agree to any of this stuff we see around us. This is a place where they think that they can take advantage of us, and they have. Every time we walk through those doors called dreams, they take another advantage because they take more and more of our memory. They're actually doing things in that realm, not just realm in those worlds. We're actually stepping back. They're holding us. Let's say I'm going to tell you some other deeper stuff. When you go to sleep, you actually step in to other worlds. Like I said, you have an option when you don't really have an option, but there's different type of places that they take you. They can take you to a past life during there. It could be a traumatic past life. They can take you to a place where you was held bound in there. Like I said, sometimes you might think that it's just been 8 hours of sleep there, and then you just wake up here. But no, you may have been there for weeks, and then they make it seem like when you wake up, it's 8 hours. You may have been there for years, and then when you wake up, it seems like it's 8 hours. That's the kind of power and authority that we have given them. And not initially on purpose, but it's through the fall and through betrayal of our own. That is fact. We needed that protective barrier, and we need it now more than anything. And the only thing we're dependent on now is other starseeds to get their stuff together and kind of assist us in this. We're at a space where we need other, other beings, other starseeds, to even those that we might look at as enemies. We need them now to actually assist us. And when I say enemies, I mean other fellow starseeds that have not awakened yet. We don't need the parasitic beings' assistance. Nor do we want it, because it always comes with a catch. We can see from the life that we're living, no matter what, we can't raise. We can't raise to a certain level of what we know our potential to be. We don't want any of this human stuff. We want to stand by our cosmic door and walk in. We want to go home. We don't want any other galactic offers of staying on Earth or a new Earth or things like that. Right now, that is not good enough. That will never be good enough again. We only want to go home. No more relooping. No more reincarnation, incarnation, or whatever they want to call it. No more of that. There will be no negotiation. We will not negotiate. We want to go home. That is it. No more reloop. And no more of them being in that position. That is the only thing that's to be discussed with any galactic team or group. I wanted to spit that out. And I'm pretty sure that's me and my team saying the same thing to all of them. Okay. And what I have here is something else I wrote. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Like in another example, say for instance, if you hate the sound of phone ringing, you be paranoid, or bangs on your door, it makes you jumpy. Anything that makes you jumpy and things like that, they will hide that. You would think that it's just a simple telemarketer, but it is not. It is them. They have beings all around us. We are in enemy territory. And if you don't know that, then you need to wake up and look around you. You have in some form been sedated, walking around in this thing that they openly call Maya. Maya is an illusion, but not the illusion that you think. Maya is taking that veil and pulling it over your face, and where you don't know exactly what's going on. Not that it's fake. Nothing about this is fake. All of it is real. And some of the things that you think is fake is real. Majority of them. And you have been conditioned to think that they are fake. Therefore, you will not put up a fight, and you will just go with it like you have been doing for 1 billion years, because you did not know. Now, what will be the excuse? You won't have one, because now you know. If you glanced across this video, you were supposed to. Period. All starseeds are called to attention. It is time for us to go. Okay, another thing I have here is, once the parasite has access to the starseed's light, they were able, when they got access to the starseed's light, through the experiments, through all the torture tests and all that type of thing, you have to watch the other videos to see exactly how they got to that point. I suggest that you do so. But I said, once the parasites were able to gain access to the starseed's light, they were able to create like the starseeds, but never create anything beautiful. Everything that you see that's remotely beautiful about this world is because of the starseed. Period. Everything that they tried to create on their own. Remember, I told you the parasitic being does not have light, and the deity did not come with light on its own. It was given from the god and goddess. Period. Period. The parasitic being was only supposed to be a worker. I want to say that. And the deities was only supposed to be servers, soldiers, and helpers. Period. Gods and goddesses was always above. That was the hierarchy. Gods and goddesses was always fair and equal and above. Okay. But you need to learn about their fall in those other videos that I wrote. That I made. It says they needed you and they needed us. They needed me and you in this space for it to be remotely livable. It was not livable when they tried to do it on their own. They were given after the after the Starseeds. After the Starseeds made their first mistake by betraying the Supreme. After the Starseeds made their first mistake by betraying the Supreme. They needed their light back. They started to drain. Their light started to be drained. So they decided to give. Because I told you the parasites didn't come. The ones in the other races did not come with light. They decided to give them light. What I call life. Not whole, temporal. Enough for them to begin work. What's work? You go and you gather the light. How do you gather the light? You attempt to build and make things brighter, beautiful, balanced, everything else. They attempted, but they was driven to destruction. That's all they wanted. That's all they knew. That was in their being. That is their nature. So everything they tried to build crumbled. And then after that, once it crumbled, they started to look towards the god and goddess for their light. So it was like a karmic situation because the gods and goddesses, the starseeds, came in that situation because they was mingling and created augmented worlds and lost their light. And they needed the supreme being to refuel them and give them more light. But that light would have taken forever. It was specifically, your light was specifically made for you. It was perfection. No one else had that signature. It was not something that can be drained and gone. No, it's not like that. If they didn't want to wait the proper time for it to regenerate. They were such a high status that it would have took over 1 billion years for it to regenerate. That's not nothing to play with. So instead of waiting all that time, the Starseeds decided to steal it from the supreme being, the first. And without that protection, the parasitic beings was able to topple and get on top. And that is what happened. So the Starseeds betrayed the supreme being first. And the parasitic being, with the help of some of the deities, betrayed the Starseeds and the gods and gods. The Starseeds, which is the gods and goddesses. But the difference is the Starseeds came with love. The Starseeds is light and love. And what they did was they made a mistake. You cannot get around that they made a mistake. But the parasitic beings, that is their nature. That is them. They know nothing else. They don't know love. They're not filled with love or light. They didn't originate with light. All their light turned to dark muck. They originated as a bacteria. No feeling. Just straight destruction. That is the parasitic being that normally does not come in this race. We are the first. Okay, and I have here this current world went through several transformations before the dinosaur era. And one of those transformations was the toppling of the Starseeds, being experimented on, being tested on, being dominated. So I also got here, I say, before this particular augmented world, this one, the current one that you find yourself in, was created, they had been doing several physical, not fake, experiments on the Starseeds. They gained this power when they used to literally torture and enslave them before this particular augmented world was created. The actual results of slavery that happened to African Americans was a manifestation of what had happened to the Starseeds prior, and I mean every detail. The physical force to make other parasites, that was one of them. The separation of the Starseeds, that was another one. The beating and abuse of the Starseeds, that one too. The mental and physical torture of the Starseeds, yep. Taking from their cosmic home, stripping them of their cosmic history, forcing them to become complacent in a world that does not love them, leaving them powerless to find their way home. Every single detail of the African, now American, slave's life. Nothing here in this history will ever topple the things that they have ever been through. That is the only recorded history that comes close to what actually happened to the Starseeds. And the things that actually did go down with the Starseeds in their time is things we cannot fathom in this temporal brain. They went way further than that. Okay, and I have here, during the fall of the Starseeds, they had already lost a lot of their light. And the parasite made it where the Starseed remained vulnerable by using the experiments and testing on them. Once they dulled the Starseed's light, the god and goddess, they were able to perform experiments and testing. I'm going to go through some of the testings that they used on the Starseeds that they did to us. That they did to us. And this is why you truly find yourself a human now, a so-called human. And your body and your vessel is really not a 10.0, but they want you to make you think that it is a perfected vessel because it does this and does that. It doesn't do 1% of what it's supposed to, with you being a god and goddess. But they want you to believe that so you can think that it is perfected and nothing is wrong. They don't want you to know that this is not it. This is not what's up. I had a vessel that could fly. I had a vessel that I had sonar. I had a vessel where I can see through walls. I had a vessel where I can easily get in and out. I never had a vessel where I got stuck, where I was on the ground and I could not return home. I never had a vessel like this. What's so great about this vessel? It binds me. It bounds me. And it does not allow me to go home. What is so great about this? Nothing. Nothing is great about this. Okay, one of the experiments. Y'all see this energy? Okay, and it's mine. It's all mine. Yes, it is. And I might have things around me, but it is all mine. All right. It says changing the literal frequency. I say one of the methods used as far as the testing and the experiments was changing the literal frequency of their physical heart. I said most of the bodies of the starseeds / gods and goddesses that they inhabited, that they originally had, or that they now find themselves in, let me start over. The bodies that was given to them or they was forced to have, the parasitic beings monitored them. That's what I was trying to say. During the experiments on the starseeds, they were able to degrade the vessels the starseeds had originally had. Most of their focus was on the emotional level of the starseed. Excuse me. And that's why they tampered with the heart centers. The starseeds we did not have organs in our original body. We had nothing but primo, high quality light. We did not need anything that would decompose. We had light. We didn't need any of that stuff. Let me see. Okay. The organs in the body of the starseed is actually the mutation of the starseeds from all the experiments that took place and the testings. It came from the continuous experimenting. And that's how it's so-called passed down from vessel to vessel, from body to body. The parasites are the first ones to rely on the immortal vessels. They had bodies like this, not us. And theirs was more corroded. They literally looked like dead corpses. They had no life in it. I say they needed cells for them to live. And not only cells, they needed our light for them to even be remotely activated, or even, you know what you think about barbarians? It's sort of like that, but even worse. I said, remember you guys, I said the parasites literally began as a bacteria. They did. You can look that up as far as bacteria in the origin, and they say that that's the first thing that they found. Okay. They literally began as a bacteria on the surface of our first augmented worlds. Ours. This is not the first augmented worlds that we ever incorporated in or had. You know, we had a lot of them where they were beautiful places. But after the takedown and take over, pretty much none of them is left. You know, the only one that we're really fighting for now is our cosmic space, a space that they was not able to enter, but they hover around it, and they're trying to absorb that light, and it's hard for them to absorb that light. The only way that they're able to really get even a small, minute portion of it is from us being in this space. We have to dial down our stuff in order for them to suck it. We have to be in this vessel. Did you know that if we was outside of these vessels, they would explode? That's how big and powerful we are. They make sure that after whatever they call the so-called death, they usher us in a new body. They will usher us through a door. You have no idea how many times, let's say, for instance, your name is Sean, how many times you have been Sean. Because they don't want you to come out of that vessel. They don't want you to come out that vessel, because every time you kill millions of them from your light. So they usher you through a door that looks like almost sleep. When someone so-called dies, what is it like? They're like sleeping, but it's not. They're not literally sleeping. No, it's not like that. That's what it appears to us. They put them right back into rotation. This is not a fairy tale. They put them most likely on in one of those other worlds, the worlds that they actually destroyed and created. That's why they take them back to the past when we walk through the doors of what I call sleep, which is not dreams. They are not dreams. They are consisted of your past lives and certain traumatic events that may have happened. Those are all spaces and places you have been. Okay. I have here, I said the organs in the human bodies was always used as a weapon of control for the starseed. They always used them as a weapon. You know what it feels like for your heart to start pumping and for you to be afraid of something. You know, that is a horrible sensation. Or what your gut feels like when you lose someone. You know, these was all emotions that we did not feel. We only felt top-notch emotions. We only felt the highest pure emotions. Those emotions was created by them. We had to be tortured on in order for our brains, not our brains, because we didn't use any physical matter and all this type of stuff. We didn't need this. We was already connected with a universal field. So they had to literally dial our stuff down and convince us that we feel these pains before we could even manifest them. We didn't even believe in them before. They had to do so much stuff to us for us to get to this level of believing in fear. We did not fear that or feel that. We did not even comprehend or understand that. That's how far away from that we were. We was warriors. Warriors didn't fear. What is this that you're trying to draw me to, that you're trying to convince me I feel? I don't comprehend. But now I do. And that's tragic. And that's sad. I should not comprehend fear or worry or sorrow or depression or anxiety. I should not understand that. That should not be a norm or a regular thing to me or to you. Okay, I have here too. It says, I'll start over from what I just wrote. I said the organs in the human body was always used as a weapon of control. That's why they decompose and you remain after, and they remain after death. I mean, no, I need to read that over. That is why they decompose and you will remain, but they'll go away. You don't need the organs in the body. A starseed doesn't need those things. It's an exiting of the body. They could not take from you your regular routine of exiting the body. They had to convince you that these are the things that you need to survive. These are the things that that is vital to you. But they was never vital to a starseed. They was never vital to a god or a goddess. It was literally like a coat that you wore. And your coat did not consist of bacteria, of organs and things like that. It was made of pure light. Pure primo light. The organs is the mutation and the result of their experimenting and testing over billions of years. Okay. When they did experiments on the starseeds, serotonin and cortisol was one of the chemicals used to be pumped in the system of the starseed. Serotonin, I got here, sends signals between your nerve cells. It controls body functions, including mood. That was one of the key things that they needed. Bowel movements and sleep, which I told you that's only them being able to usher you through these other worlds. Okay. I said, remember, I said that dreams are nothing more than a door you walk through and enter another literal world. So sleep was vital for them to take control over, to make you think that that is a space where you have to stay at for 8 hours or for whatever long. Imagine people, or not just people, but starseeds that go into comas. They think that they're supposed to be in that state, and they don't remember that they can get up and go. Think of that type of mind control beyond mind control, because it goes physical. I say they use the serotonin chemical to control those worlds that we enter every night and day. That is one of the methods they use to call us when all of a sudden we feel extremely sleepy. Out of nowhere, know that something is up when you haven't done anything and you just feel extremely exhausted where you could barely keep your eyes open. They are trying to pull you to that space. And 9 times out of 10, if you so-called nod off, they have. And you will have no clue of how long you have been there or where you went. You will just wake up in this space like it was nothing but just you taking a nap, and that's not true. I say when we fall asleep, they guide us to places we would never go on our own. We would never want to go to those places because they abuse us in those places. They do all types of updating techniques. They don't have to take you to a ship. They can just wait till you do this. And sometimes they can do it in your own space. Your auric field and your protection barrier is so important for you to keep up around you. You don't even understand how important. I got here, I say, when we fall asleep, they guide us to places we would never go on our own. And then when we enter back in this world, we have no memory of what truly took place there. And the other chemical, cortisol, is the panic button they use every time we upset them. Or they want to drain our light. They pump that more in our system, cortisol. They make it active. Cortisol is the human body's stress hormone, and everybody knows what stress is not good. Stress is always a silent killer in more ways than one. Cortisol works with certain parts of your of the human brain to control moods and fear. That's where their so-called fight or flight, and they make sure that it is off. Sometimes when we're supposed to be zen and cool, we're ready to run. We're ready to take flight instead of just, really assessing the situation. And you may think that it's you, but it's them actually controlling your environment and pumping that stuff up where you don't know whether to be calm in the situation or actually get active and do something about it. They have it all wired wrong. They did those experiments and testing so much that it is they did those experiments and testing as far as using the serotonin and cortisol, that it is an automatic substance passed down from human to human, from body to body. Now it's where everyone that inhabits these bodies have that substance in there, and they have no clue that is not how the original Starseeds body was supposed to be. That is part of their original experiments and testing, as far as them pumping that stuff, that chemical, in our vessels. Okay. And I have here, they also tried, I mentioned before, experiments on the third eye. Our third eye, I'll give a brief synopsis of that, is the most important part to this vessel that we have, that's our own. That is part of the piece that we transferred into this vessel. It is where we rebel and pull down some of our cosmic light to us and try to bypass all their blocks so we can energize ourselves, so we can kind of feel this temporal body up, so we can eventually take flight and go home to our ascended place, to our true cosmic home, our home. Okay, they tried to physically do experiments on the Starseeds' third eye, but it kept protruding. So they began to use the method of chemtrails. This is where chemtrails came into place. They inserted the chemicals that's involved in chemtrails directly into the Starseeds' vessels. That's what they used to do. They used to put it in there directly. Eventually the chemical made the third eye go inward, and that is why you don't see the third eye on the outside of the head. But every time the Starseeds would receive their cosmic light, their third eye would attempt to protrude outward again. So they developed the method of using aircrafts and other machines to spread the chemtrails faster and longer. And once they did a routine of spreading it more to masses, we no longer see it. But you can do the research and know that that is an eye in there. That is not figment, but now you know the history of where it comes from, the truth. Okay, something else that they use as a weapon to form against starseeds is fake solutions. They bait us. They will bait us mentally into thinking of ways we can solve problems. But what they want us to do is to reimagine the worst outcome. Remember, I said you're a creator and you create instantly. But the only reason you don't see, the only reason you don't know that you create instantly is because you don't see it. You don't see it through here. You don't see it through through this current realm, what you're actually producing. But you produce, your thoughts is not your thoughts. Your thoughts is creations instantly. I say, but what they make you do is reimagine the worst outcome over and over. That's why that loop is in your head and you can't. You think that you're trying to find a solution, but they're pumping that. They're actually making you reloop it and reloop it because they want you to solidify this place. So once you step to that door, through that door, that place will be waiting for you and they will trap you there and keep you there in your worst scenario. Did you know that what you find yourself in, where you find yourself with lack, no money, or hard times, this is a place that you created in another space that you tried to find a solution for. They kept this place instead of disengaging, which that is what the parasitic being or the deities were supposed to do anyway. They were supposed to help you cleanse all those thoughts because you're an instant creator. They were supposed to help you cleanse all that stuff so it would never solidify. They were supposed to disengage it, but they kept those creations, those moments, those worlds so they can usher you in them. Once you walk through that door, either by what they call death or the door when you so-called fall asleep. They had them waiting. They have them still waiting. But now it's not a real emergence of new worlds and things like that. They're using old things from old lives and old stuff. So they're ushering you back into the past. And they're trying to prevent you from going to the future. And like I said, the only future that we will accept is going home. We're not talking about no other future where they exist. We're talking about going home to our cosmic space. There is no negotiation on that. We will not bend. All starseeds want to ascend and go home. That is the only future for us, not a new earth. We don't care about this earth. Okay. It says they are aware that, okay, wait. Okay. I'll start all the way over. It says they bait you mentally into thinking of ways you can solve a problem. But what they want you to do is keep reimagining the worst outcome over and over as you try to come up with a solution. All your solutions that you pop up, those lives, they give to other people. You can see your solutions that you created when you was in that other life. given to other people. They have the houses. Everything works out for them. Things, far as their children, everything, it seems to work out for them, because those are your solutions. Those was your solutions. Those was your creations that you created for yourself in those other spaces that they have given to other parasitic beings or other deities that find themselves in certain bodies and things like that. The parasitic beings that have other races, they have your solutions. You see them in front of you. You see their mansions. You see their big houses. You watch them on TV. That was all your stuff. That's your stuff. You created that stuff, and you created it for someone else. But they placed you in a life where you also had these type of thoughts too. And now, but they were supposed to stop them and disengage them, but they didn't. So you find yourself in that situation now. And that's why it's hard for you to match the monetary value, because it's a solidified space and it's hard for you to do it on your own. And the only way that you can do, that we can actually work, this is the only thing that it'll work, is if we only work with other starseeds to try to lift this vibration, and not lift the vibration by what they're saying. I'm talking about lift it on a personal level, lift your vibration on a personal level. That's how we work together. You concentrate on you. You concentrate on making your life better. You concentrate on your ascension. And once you concentrate on your ascension, that light, your auric field will connect with another star seed that will want to do the same thing too. Okay. I said here also, y'all. Whoa, man. Whoa. They know you will always be, they know that you will always be a creator. So they are depending on you creating the worst case scenario in your current world. And mind you, I'm reading this, right? Don't mind my phone. It's cracked. I'm trying to show you something. When I was talking about calls, I don't know who this is. And they're trying to interrupt me right now. But I'm going to keep on going. That's just one little example of them calling me. You guys, I keep my ringer off. That's a side note. I do not cut my ringer on. Only time I keep my ringer on is when I know that there's something important that's going to happen. Now, see, I check my phone, but I cut that ringer off. You're not getting through this vibration. And then I have another phone for, my daughter and things like that. And that's in case of emergencies. Other than that, no. You're not getting through here. That's why, guess what? I tell you, I ain't lying. It just ringed and you did not hear it. I do not play. I don't need to cut on that ringer. For what? I'll check it and I get to you when I get to you. It's so many things that they use to lower this vibration. We can't take the chance. Okay. Where was I? Before I was interrupted by the parasitic being. I'm just saying. They know you will always be a creator, so they are depending on you creating the worst case scenarios in your current world so they can move you the next time. So they want you, if you don't create them here, if you don't see your stuff here, they're going to make sure that you go, when you walk through that door, to that same space one way or another, unless you ascend and go home. There is no other way. You will not reloop to a greater life. Do not believe that stuff. It is not going to happen. The only greater life you will ever receive or have is at your cosmic home where all star seeds belong, period. That is the only place. We do not belong in these spaces. And don't listen to them talk this us. The only us is Starseeds. That is the only group. That is the only originals that is supposed to be there, regardless of what is said, period. They are aware that you have the capabilities to create instantly. And by them keeping your frequency at no more than 2%, they want you to draw the things you do not want. Now, depending on how many other star seeds is in your actual world, that's in your current world, it's harder for them to make you manifest, to bring certain things in here. It's hard. They can't, like, say, for instance, you can go and think of all type of crazy stuff, you know, in your current space, but you don't seem to always see it. And that's because you have the protection, at least, of fellow star seeds somewhere near in this space. You might not know them. You might not talk to them. You might not even believe it half the time. But you guys are protecting each other. We are protecting each other. We are family, and we are the only family that we will ever have. We won't have anybody else that have our back. It's only star seeds with star seeds. That is it. Star seeds with star seeds, gods with gods, goddesses with goddesses. That is it. That's all. Okay, and I got a little bit more here, but not a lot. They hide all the signs of the cosmic battles from us. I told you, as I have been speaking, I call it friendly warfare. That's what they're doing. It's so bizarre because I could be making a video, but some warrior could be fighting with swords and things like that. Cosmic beings, our fellow warriors, our fellow starseed ancestors could literally be fighting the parasitic beings in different type of forms right next to us, and we wouldn't know because our senses have been cut off in this space. And they don't want us to know that that battle is going on, because maybe we'll try to assist a little harder with our etheric light, drawing our own power to us and spreading it out, you know? And they don't want that. But some of the ways that we can tell that the battle is going on is through the natural disasters. When you see these things, the natural disasters is not a bad sign. It's actually a good sign. It shows the dismantling of their system and the world on a cosmic level. That's what it shows. That's what it shows. It shows our victory. That's what it shows. And it shows that it should not be too long before we can return home, Starseeds. But we have to hang in there. Oh my God, we have to hang in there. And I know that pressure is going to be on, but it was already on. They had already started. We did not start this thing. They did. We was not an enemy of the parasite. The parasite made themselves an enemy of us. We did not start this battle. They did, but we will finish it.